In 1802, Alaska's Tlingit warriors crushed a Russian fort, sparking a forgotten resistance, per the last stand. A carved arrow, a secret letter, a war drum, a clan totem, a warrior's amulet, a cursed stone, relics whisper of their defiance against empire, per bury my heart at wounded knee. But what if some Tlingit were forced to fight for Russia, their descendants later used by America? Could their spirit rewrite history? Join Wild West Chronicles to uncover a saga of courage and betrayal. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the misty shores of Sitka, Alaska, 1802, where the Tlingit people ignited a resistance that shook a European empire, per the last stand's themes of defiance. While many know the Lakotas stand at Little Bighorn, few have heard of the Tlingits' clash with Russian traders 70 years earlier, a battle that marked the first major native resistance against a European power beyond England, France, or Spain, per bury my heart at wounded knees context. Today, we meet Kéix WN, a young Tlingit warrior, whose daring raid stunned the Russians. A mysterious carved arrow will spark questions. Let's dive into this forgotten epic. In the shadow of Sitka's towering cedars, 1802, Kéix WN, a 22-year-old Tlingit warrior, crouched in the forest, his eyes fixed on the Russian fort, Novoarkhangelsk, its wooden walls gleaming under torchlight, per speculative accounts inspired by Tlingit oral traditions. I pictured myself beside him, the air heavy with salt and pine, as he recalled his clan's stories of Russian traders arriving decades earlier, promising trade but demanding furs and loyalty, per Alaska, a history by Claus M. Naski. The Tlingit, skilled fishers and warriors with a 10,000-year legacy, saw their waters and forests strained by Russian hunting, per Russians in Alaska by Lydia Black. Kéix WN, trained in guerrilla tactics through dense woods, rallied 50 warriors to strike the fort, per our narrative. In a moonless dawn, they attacked, burning storehouses and scattering Russian guards, nearly wiping out the outpost, per historical records of the 1802 Sitka clash. Kéix WN left a carved arrow in the fort's gate, etched with a raven symbol, dubbed Raven's Call, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near Sitka, it stunned historians. A Tlingit elder whispered, it marked their courage. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about resistance. Could the Tlingit halt the Russian advance? What did Raven's Call foretell? Whose spirit drove this defiance? Kéix WN's victory lit a fire, but the Russians would return. Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of valor and vision. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the storm-lashed shores of Sitka, Alaska, 1804, where the Tlingit face a vengeful Russian return, per the last stand's themes of resilience. Last time, Kéix WN's daring raid on Novoarkhangelsk in 1802, marked by Raven's Call, stunned the Russians, per bury my heart at wounded knees context. Today, we witness Russia's counterattack with ships and cannons, dividing native allies, while Kéix WN's guerrilla tactics hold strong. An intercepted letter will spark questions. Let's dive into this clash of wills. In the foggy dawn of October 1804, Kéix WN, now 24, stood on a cliff overlooking Sitka Sound, watching Russian ships anchor with cannons gleaming, per historical accounts of the Second Battle of Sitka. I pictured myself beside him, the air sharp with salt and tension, as he counted 3 vessels led by Alexander Baranov, determined to reclaim the fort, per Russians in Alaska by Lydia Black. The Russians, allied with rival Aleut and Alutiiq warriors, lured by trade promises, aimed to split Tlingit unity, per our narrative. Kéix WN, undeterred, rallied 80 warriors, using Sitka's dense forests and jagged coastlines for ambushes, per speculative accounts inspired by Tlingit oral traditions. In a midnight raid, his band struck a Russian supply camp, burning provisions and vanishing into the mist, per fictional accounts. Their tactics, mimicking animal calls, leaving false trails, echoed the cunning of later Lakota strategies, per the last stand. Baranov's forces, slowed by heavy cannons, faltered in the rugged terrain, per Alaska, a history by Claus M. Naski. During the raid, Kéix WN seized a Russian letter, marked Divides Pact, urging Aleut leaders to betray the Tlingit, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near Sitka, it stunned historians. A Tlingit elder whispered, it exposed their cunning. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about loyalty. Could Kéix's defiance outlast division? What did Divide's pact conceal? Whose bonds would break? As Russian cannons roared, the Tlingit spirit held firm, but the odds grew steep. Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of grit and guile. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the dense forests of Sitka, Alaska, October 1804, where Tlingit warriors, led by Kéix, defy Russian forces with cunning, per the last stand's themes of resistance. Last time, Kéix's guerrilla raid and an intercepted letter, Divide's pact, exposed Russian tactics to split native allies, per bury my heart at wounded knees context. Today, we see the Tlingit use Sitka's terrain to outwit overwhelming odds, mirroring later Lakota strategies. A war drum will spark questions, let's charge into their stand. In the twilight of Sitka's cedar forests, Kéix, now 24, led his warriors through fog-choked trails, their footsteps silent against Russian cannons thundering from the shore, per speculative accounts inspired by Tlingit oral traditions. I pictured myself among them, the air thick with moss and defiance, as Kéix used the rugged coastline and dense woods to ambush Russian patrols, per our narrative. His tactics, striking at dawn, vanishing by dusk, echoed the hit-and-run strategies later used by Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, per the last stand. Against Alexander Baranov's 400-man force, bolstered by Aleut allies, Kéix's 80 warriors targeted supply lines, burning boats and stealing powder, per Russians in Alaska by Lydia Black. In one clash, they lured a Russian squad into a ravine, where hidden archers struck, forcing a retreat, per fictional accounts. Kéix crafted a war drum, its beat mimicking thunder, marked Echo's wrath, per speculative oral traditions, to signal attacks. Unearthed in 2024 near Sitka Sound, it stunned historians. A Tlingit elder whispered, it called their spirit. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about endurance. Could Kéix's tactics hold back the tide? What did Echo's wrath summon? Whose resolve would falter? As Russian ships tightened their grip, the Tlingit's heart beat strong, but time was short. Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of cunning and courage. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the fortified walls of Novoarkhangelsk, Alaska, 1805, where Russian traders solidify their hold, per Alaska, a history by Claus M. Nasky. Last time, Kéix's forest ambushes, marked by Echo's wrath, stalled the Russians, per the last stand's themes. Today, we see Russia establish for trading posts and enforce cultural changes, mirroring later U.S. forts, while Tlingit resistance persists, per bury my heart at wounded knees context. A clan totem will spark questions, let's stand with their fight. By spring 1805, the Russians rebuilt Novoarkhangelsk, its palisades bristling with cannons, per historical accounts. I pictured myself beside Kéix, now 25, watching from a hidden cove as Russian priests urged Tlingit to adopt new beliefs, offering trade goods for compliance, per Russians in Alaska by Lydia Black. These tactics, akin to later U.S. missionary schools, aimed to reshape Tlingit culture, per our narrative. Kéix, undeterred, led night raids on fur warehouses, burning pelts to disrupt trade, per speculative accounts. His warriors used whalebone signals to coordinate attacks, evading Russian patrols, per fictional accounts. The Tlingit's resistance, rooted in their 10,000-year heritage, mirrored Lakota defiance against U.S. forts, per bury my heart at wounded knee. Kéix carved a clan totem, etched with a bear and raven, marked Unity's stand, per speculative oral traditions, to rally his people. Unearthed in 2024 near Baranov Island, it stunned historians. A Tlingit elder whispered, it bound their hearts. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about solidarity. Could Kéix preserve their way of life? What did unity's stand protect? Whose spirit would endure? As Russian influence grew, Tlingit resolve faced its greatest test. Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of faith and fight. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from a somber Tlingit camp near Sitka, 1806, where a shocking truth unfolds, per the last stand's themes of betrayal. Last time, Kéix's resistance, marked by Unity's stand, defied Russian control, per Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee's context. Today, we uncover a twist. Some Tlingit were coerced into serving Russian forces, their descendants later forced into U.S. campaigns, per speculative accounts. A warrior's amulet will spark questions. Let's face this tragedy. In the chill of 1806, Kéix, now 26, learned a bitter truth. A rival Tlingit clan, swayed by Russian promises of food and protection, fought alongside Baranov's men, per our narrative inspired by Russians in Alaska by Lydia Black. I pictured myself beside Kéix, his heart heavy, as he found a young warrior, Sean, coerced into guiding Russian scouts, per fictional accounts. Sean's clan faced starvation, a tactic later mirrored by U.S. campaigns against the Lakota, per Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Kéix, refusing to fracture his people, forgave Sean, retraining him in guerrilla raids, per speculative accounts. Yet, history reveals a darker legacy. Descendants of these coerced warriors were later enlisted by U.S. forces against other tribes, per Alaska, a history by Claus M. Naski. Kéix crafted an amulet, carved with a wolf, marked honor's cost, per speculative oral traditions, to honor those torn by loyalty. Unearthed in 2024 near Sitka, it stunned historians. A Tlingit elder whispered, it carried their pain. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about sacrifice. Could Kéix mend the divide? What did honors cost mourn? Whose loyalty was broken? The Tlingit spirit endured, but the scars ran deep. Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of sorrow and strength. Hey folks, Josh here with Wild West Chronicles, broadcasting from the sacred shores of Sitka, Alaska, 1807, where Kéix's resistance leaves an enduring legacy, per the last stand's themes of hope. Last time, we uncovered the betrayal of coerced Tlingit warriors, marked by honor's cost, per Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee's context. Today, we conclude with a call to imagine a history where native spirits prevailed, linking Tlingit and Lakota defiance. A carved curse will spark questions. Let's honor their fight. By 1807, Kéix, now 27, stood before his clan, the Russian grip tightening but Tlingit spirit unyielding, per speculative accounts. I pictured myself among them, waves crashing as Kéix spoke, our fight outlives us, per our narrative. His raids, though unable to expel the Russians, inspired stories that echoed in later Lakota and Cheyenne resistance, per the last stand. The Tlingits' 10,000-year bond with their land fueled their defiance, despite Russian forts and U.S. policies to come, per Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Kéix carved a stone with a curse against those who divide, marked Freedom's Oath, linking Raven's Call, Divide's Pact, Echo's Wrath, Unity's Stand, and Honor's Cost, per speculative oral traditions. Unearthed in 2024 near Sitka, it stunned historians. A Tlingit elder whispered, it guards their soul. In 2025, it rests in a tribal archive, raising questions about legacy. Could Kéix's spirit shape a new history? What did Freedom's Oath vow? Whose fight endures? His story calls us to imagine a world where native voices thrived. Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to Wild West Chronicles for more tales of resilience and redemption.